Hello and welcome, duelists, to another Challenger Cup stream on this wonderful Sunday. We are actually about to witness the last Challenger Cup of the autumn season. That is currently we're going to be joining the action starting from top 32. So these duelists have been playing for a couple of rounds already, but today's coverage is starting from the top 32, which you see in front of me right now. So hoping for some good Master Duel gameplay today. We'll see who takes it all down. And I guess it is also going to be one last ride for Malice Red Ransom. And we'll see how well the deck is going to be doing today. And then eventually we're going to have some tournaments happening after Red Ransom is gone. And then we'll see and compare and see the power level between these two. But yeah. The top 32 duelists are sitting down here, and we are going to be able to check out some of the action in top 32. BA, I can say BA best deck even on a Challenger Cup stream. It's not true no matter what, but you know. Let me get the in-game music back on. Can we watch Abo? We can if you want to. Yeah, I don't mind. Your wish is my command. Let's see. Where is Abo? Abo is right here. All right, we're going to be joining Dizzy versus T2 Abo Hamoud. Let's see if we see some branded gameplay here or not. All right, Dizzy is going first, winning the coin toss here. We see 60 cards over on Abo's side. I wonder what that is. Malice White Rabbit is the normal summon for Dizzy. Gonna be resolving that MTP07, searching for March here. Don't watch the... Abo, focus on your game. I feel like that counts as a spoiler. I feel like we've just been spoiled. Okay, we're using the March here to banish the 07, indicating that this is just going to be the White Rabbit 1-card combo, which is still good enough if it resolves, but a single Bisteel could be pretty devastating here on the Splash Mage target. But there is no Bestial, it seems like. Also, I think it's worth mentioning, because a Bestial would be pretty good here, I think it's better for the Splash Mage to target the March Hare, because the March Hare has not used the effect when banished yet, so at least if it gets Bestialed, you get to add it back to your hand. Can't use the effect anymore this turn, but... Alright, one last ride for Malice Red Ransom, not even using the effect to search, because we drew the field spell. Which I guess is good news, you know, one less card in Malice hand. Abo is on 60 cards, yes. I mean, I'd be shocked if it wasn't branded. But does that, doesn't that also indicate that we also drew Malice, we did also draw Malice in the Mirror? I was about to say, we drew both targets for Malice Red Ransom. Gonna banish the March Hare for Malice in the Mirror. Surely it's 60 card Paleo for the Josh Cup. I mean, I would be pleasantly surprised, but I also think it's better for Abo if it's branded, because, I mean, look, it's gonna be hard to beat this Malice board no matter what deck it is, but if it is Paleo, then I think you're gonna be in for a tough time. Okay, Red Ransom and Dormouse make Cyber's Wicked. And then we're going to turn that Chessy Cat into a Link 1 Link Decoder, because we haven't gone through that yet. And Cyber's Wicked is going to trigger and probably banish the Red Ransom. Yeah. Did you already bring the new branded stuff to locals? I haven't had the chance to go to locals in a while, so no. There's gonna be more locals stuff in December though. My December is a lot less packed in terms of stuff I'm doing, so I'm gonna have more time to go to locals, which is nice. Alright, backup Adignister grabs Wizard Adignister, discards a card from hand, which is the March Hare we've added back earlier. Okay. We have now gone through all of the Malice main deck monsters banished effect. And we've also used Red Ransom's effect in banished. You're gonna do an end of year survey? Yes. Yes, we are gonna do an end of the year thingy. Yeah. It is planned. All this stuff on board and 6 cards in hand. And we haven't drawn off White Binder yet. And we also could have had one more card in hand because we didn't use Red Ransom to search because we drew both of the targets. So yeah. Pretty good. So this is going to be the White Binder. The White Binder is probably going to banish the Heart Scripter. The Heart Scripter is going to come back. We could use the Heart Scripter to banish our own White Binder before linking it off, just so we can draw the card with it, which seems like a good idea. Right, because normally what I was thinking is just make Allied Code Talker here out of those 3, but then you wouldn't be drawing off of the White Binder, so you can just go Heart Scripter, banish the White Binder, bring it back, and then make the Allied Code. Which is just a free draw. Why wouldn't you take it? I guess it costs you 9. We also just have infinite more bodies with the Wizard Adignister here. Which honestly, we can just make a Firewall Dragon out of that. as well. Yeah. Gonna recycle the MTP07 to get the banish on the opponent's turn. Now the white binder is gonna activate and we draw a card. What round is this? This is the top 32. Does Malice go Cyberslop post Red Ransom? I mean, it's hard to say for me specific. Like, I can't really say what exactly Malice is going to look like once Red Ransom is going to be gone. My personal prediction is that people are still going to try to make it work, because one thing that is not going to change, or rather two things that are not going to change for Malice. The first thing is it's still going to be a deck with access to some of, if not the best non-engine in the game. And what I mean by that is like Dominus Impulse and just in general a lot of room for non-engine, right? So that is always going to be a big factor. And then the second thing is that even without Red Ransom, I'm pretty sure that the Malice end board is going to be very, very good. So yeah. Aha. All right, we don't have enough cards in hand yet. We're gonna activate Max C, and Abo is not going to enjoy that one. So essentially, this is the best possible board that Malice is gonna make currently, with a full hand of 6. Allied Code Talker ready to negate something, Fireball Dragon ready to bounce, all of the Malice interruptions in place, and a March here in hand as well, so we can get to all of those non-target banishes here, no problem. I guess the only small thing that is in Abo's favor here is the fact that we paid a lot of life points and we didn't gain anything back because we did not use GWC. So we are down to 3,200 life points now. There is a super polymerization now, which is pretty big. We're discarding the Quem. We can now use away, I guess, the allied code at the... Do we play... Maybe we play the one that needs 3 link monsters. Which one is that? There's the... What is it? The World Legacy Guard Dragon Almerduke or something that needs 3 link monsters. Maybe we play that one. That'd be nice. There's also something that needs 3 dark monsters. I believe Predaplant Trifo Veritum or something like that. Which are not likely to be in Abo's deck, to be fair. Most likely it's just Garura. Most likely it's just Garura with like allied code plus Cryptor. And this will also allow Abo to trigger the Branded Lost to search, because we are performing a fusion summon. And the Branded Lost has properly resolved. And we are going to use the Cryptor and the allied code. And we're going to make the Garura, which could potentially draw another card later. First, Dizzy is going to draw a card for Maxi. Branded Lost is going to activate. And I think now the direction in this game is clear. You know, we are under Maxi, so Dizzy is going to draw a lot of cards. The objective here is win the game this turn. Ignore the Maxi, just go in. All right, normal summon Fallen of Albaz is really nice here because the Firewall Dragon is currently not co-linked to anything, so it cannot bounce here. And other than that, I don't think there's a way to prevent this Albaz from fusing, because I believe the set is GWC. Okay, Dominus Impulse is a way to stop them from fusing. Okay, that's pretty good. No trap in the graveyard means the Fallen of Albaz will stay on the field at least. But these last 2 cards in Abo's hand are gonna have to be good. We need branded fusion or thrust or talents or anything of that nature. Grass, yeah, that grass looks greener, would be nice. The Dominus Impulse from the hand does make the Firewall useless for the rest of the game, which is not bad. Probably drew that one off of the Max C, so we would have probably said it if we had it already. It's funny, the Garura is actually quite big because of the Red Ransom swapping its attack and defense. It's 2400 attack Garura right now that hits for double damage, which is like kind of funny, but doesn't really matter as much. Branded in red. Okay. Gonna be targeting a monster in the grave. I believe we have 2 targets right now. We could be targeting the Quem or the Albion that's treated as Fallen of Albaz right now. Also, yeah, Abo not locked into fusions yet because we haven't done anything that locks us, but there is a Bestial in Dizzy's hand as well, and this is what I was referring to earlier. Like, Malice, besides having a super strong combo, also just happens to draw a bunch of cards and plays a lot of really strong non-engine, so you just have access to so many good non-engine cards usually after doing your combo. Like here, we had the Max C, we had the Dominus Impulse, we have the Bestial, but we see a pre-preparation of rights from Abo showing that this is Mitsurugi branded. And that's very surprising, but that could actually, hold up, that could actually do a lot here if there's no more. I mean, there clearly wasn't an Ash Blossom because that was the last card in hand. Of course, we would have ashed this. So we do have the pre-prep here, resolving the Habakiri, tributing the Garura, so we can go Saji effect and chain block it with the Garura here. So even if we draw an Ash Blossom off of the Max C here, we cannot use it on the Saji. Drawing a card for Garura, and now Saji is going to resolve and search Mitsurugi Ritual. And Mitsurugi Ritual, if Dominus Impulse has already been used, will probably resolve. And there we go, Mitsurugi Ritual. Are we going to Ritual from deck or from hand? I mean, the question is, can we deal 3200 damage this turn? I guess the really good news here is that one card that makes it a lot easier to go for a lot of damage is Murakumo. Murakumo just wiping the opponent's board is going to make it a lot easier to go in for big damage here. We see the GWC in response to the Mitsurugi Ritual, bringing back the White Binder, gaining 2300 life points. So 5500 life points is what Dizzy is working with here. We are tributing Aramasa and Kusanagi from the deck to Ritual Summon Habakiri from the hand, most likely, unless we drew Murakumo off of Garura, which we didn't. So there's Habakiri, reducing all the monsters on the opponent's field by 800 attack. And of course, the reason why we brought the White Binder back here is because we want to try to banish that Mitsurugi Ritual that this Kusanagi is targeting. So we're going to use the White Binder on that Kusanagi target, most likely to stop Abo from getting back the Mitsurugi Ritual. However, wait, did we not target that? We did target that, okay. The Aramasa here, this is, if there is no further interruption from Dizzy, this is game. Because of the pre-preparation of rights, we know that there's a Mitsurugi Mirror in the hand. We can tribute the Habakiri, Ritual Summon the Murakumo, Raigeki the board, and attack for game. And because there was a Dominus Impulse used from the hand, there is limited amount of things that Dizzy can have here to stop this. I mean, there is a Bestial in hand. Oh no, there is not yet a Bestial in hand. The Magnuit was this turn. There cannot be a Nibiru. There can be more Bestials, but like, is the Bestial gonna be enough? One Bestial might not be enough to survive this. Depending on which one it is. I mean, Druid Worm would obviously matter. We're gonna go for Mitsurugi Great Purification. Also, another thing that's worth noting is we don't necessarily have to do 5,500 damage. If we put Malice low enough, that could be good enough. Oh, and we decide not to bring back the Habakiri from the graveyard to give the opponent less draws. Does the Albaz connect? Oh, it does. Wonderfully played by Abo. And Malice goes full combo. Has Maxi, Dominus Impulse, Bestial Magnamut, and all the Malice interruptions in the world, and still goes down to branded Mitsurugi here. What a banger of a game. Okay, we're starting off strong. We're starting off strong today, and Abo takes the first game off of Dizzy here. What an exciting one. I'm very happy we got to see that. All right. Admittedly, the branded part, I mean, you know, no, it's not true. The branded stuff did some work. You know, we had the branded Lost with the Super Poly, which gave us a Garura, which we drew a card with later. Also, we got the Albaz access, which was pretty crucial because without the Albaz, we don't force the Dominus Impulse. And if we don't force the Dominus Impulse, then the Mitsurugi stuff doesn't do anything. So, you know, it was kind of like, you know, both they both did their thing. They both did their thing. All right, and that is 1-0 to Abo. Of course, it is a best of 3 here. And we will see Dizzy go first once again, presumably with Malice again. Allure of Darkness is met with an Ash Blossom. And now we're thinking about the next move. Set 1. End phase. Okay, set 1 does not always mean bad things, but in this case it is. We do not follow up the set 1 with a normal summon of a Malice name. We just go set 1 pass, and there is that grass looks greener. Uh-oh. And we get to see some of the cards that Abo has put into the deck. We do hit a lot of Mitsurugi cards, which isn't ideal. We lose access to Kusanagi, which can be annoying. We hit the Mitsurugi Trap, which is not bad, though. Yeah, that's not bad, actually. And we also hit a Serenir, which is going to give us Branded Retribution. And Branded Retribution can get us Branded in White. We did not hit a Branded Fusion, but we hit Branded in White. All right, there we go. Branded in White added to the hand. Yeah, the Mitsurugi Trap is really nice here. Okay, we have Bestial Lubellion as well. And things are looking dire for Dizzy here. Activate Serenir. Oh, we can tribute the Serenir for the Mitsurugi Trap as well, if you want to. But for now, we're going to go Serenir, Banish Mercurier, which is going to give us a search. And there is no Maxi this time around. We get Blazing Cartesia, which we can special summon because Albaz is in grave. But first, we bring back Lubellion. And let me quickly double check. Did we hit the branded lost? No, we can still place it. Okay. Lubellion is going to place presumably branded lost. There it is. And we're going to follow it up with branded in white. And Dizzy is thinking about it. It's possible we do have a Dominus Impulse, but it almost feels like, you know, Dominus Impulse, really strong card against Branded, really strong card against Mitsurugi as well. But if the opponent is playing both together, there's almost too many things you have to Impulse here. And now that the Impulse is out of the way, we're going to use Great Purification, bring back Aramasa, tribute the Lubellion, and then Aramasa is going to search Habakiri. Unless there's a Bestial. There is a Magnamute again, the second time we've opened Magnamute in this series. Really strong here. That is going to hurt. And it resolves, banishing the Aramasa. And Magnamute activates. All right. Can we continue? Or did this stop our plays? What's your all-time favorite summoning mechanic? There's a couple ones that I really like. I do really like ritual summoning, but I also really like fusions and synchros. It's, yeah. Those three, in no particular order, I think. All right, we did have branded opening, and that gave us the branded fusion via Aluber, and it's resolving. And I think this is I don't really see a way out here for Dizzy unless we drew a Nibiru. But even if we drew a Nibiru, it's looking rough. We did not have Ash Blossom on top of all that. And sometimes, you know, sometimes Malice just doesn't find the starter. Granted, we did have to Ash the Allure of Darkness and then just hope they didn't have a way to play. But it looks like things are working out here for Abo. And he might just be a few steps away from going into the top 16 already. Lubellion off of Albion. This card branded in high spirits. Gonna be a Mirror Jade. And I count 8,000 damage on the board after the Mirror Jade banishes the Magnamute. We are in battle phase already, so no more Nibiru, no more March here. And it looks like Abo Swift 2-0 over Malice, going second both games. You know, in game 2, didn't really have a board that he needed to beat, but game 1 beat a very impressive board, very hard, both times through Impulse and Magnamute. And moves on to the top 16. Absolute cinema. Okay, well done. Well done. All right, let's find a different table to watch. We got RGB Shiba versus Hans Nötig. Don't know what the score is here. I'm just going to reset it to 0-0, but I'm not sure what the score is between those two. All right, we see Shiba going first here with a Fiendsmith Engraver. Grabbing Fiendsmith Tract. And resolving that one as well. So that's going to be the Fabled Lurry hitting the graveyard. Maxi check. Maxi is there. Uh-oh. Do we have an answer? We do have the Ash Blossom. Okay, minigame 1. You guys may continue. All right, Requiem resolves, giving us Lacrima. And there's Sequence. All right, we are just moments away from finding out what exactly they're trying to do with the Fiendsmith. We're fusing away the actual Fiendsmith for the Lacrima. We do have 2 copies of it, though, because we sent one for Lacrima. So, gonna not go for a rank 6 just yet. We are making Nightmare Phoenix. It seems like it is a Fiendsmith Orchist, if I had to guess. So we're gonna follow that up by making Nightmare Mermaid. Okay. And we're discarding Orchist Crescendo. Oh, that's scary. If the worst card in their hand is Orchist Crescendo, that is something to worry about, I think. We're sending another the Golem. Okay, we had Millennium cards as well to start comboing. So it seems like it is essentially Orchist, but we're just throwing in a bunch of extra engines just to get to multiple bodies on the board so we can make the nightmares, which makes sense. All right, Girsu sends World Wand. World Wand banishes itself to revive a banished Orchist Nightmare. And we make Ding Girsu on top of that Galatea. Galatea banishing. Oh, nice. Okay, we can add the Crescendo back with the Link 4. I see the vision. Okay. We attach Harp Horror. And we make the Link 4. And that is going to be able to add back any Orchist card. So we add back Crescendo. And that's why it was okay to discard it earlier. And that's our end board. Okay. We have Enlil Girsu, 2 sets, and Babel set up. Okay. Allure of Darkness on the other side, revealing another Malice strategy. We go ahead and bring back White Rabbit. White Rabbit gets hit with Crescendo, which is going to negate and banish it. And because it's already returned, we can't bring it back again. We normal summon another White Rabbit and make Lingeribo, indicating we probably have Wizard or backup, and it is Wizard and Baldrake. Baldrake is particularly annoying here, I feel like, because we're gonna force that thing Girsu away. But we still have to play through this Enlil Girsu taking our monster. And we're stealing the White Rabbit, but we have the field spell as well, the one of. We have the one of, and that's gonna hurt. Flash Mage. What is that last set card? Do we know it? I don't think we do. Weakest Malice hand. I mean, yeah, it was a very crazy hand, wasn't it? It was Allure, Banish White Rabbit. We had another Malice normal summon, Wizard Ad Ignister, and a Bestial, and the field spell. It was a pretty good hand. At the same time, I can't help but feel like we probably could have interrupted this in a more meaningful way. Like, I understand we tried to prevent them to get to a Malice Link monster by taking the White Rabbit, but what I'm thinking of right now is like, isn't it also really good to let them make a Link 3 and then take it? Because that way you take a lot of resources away, right? Oh, it was a cross-out designator. Okay. And we have a lot of monsters on this Orchest board, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to survive this turn, because there's also a 0 attack Galatea Eye just chilling there, which seems like a prime attack target. If we had Crossout, why did we Ash Maxi? That's a fair question. I guess maybe it's because you cannot Ash a Nibiru or something like that. Or Dominus Impulse, right? Maybe they were like holding the Crossout for those cards. But didn't work out for them here. And Malice, with a very good hand for going second, overruns the Orchist field here and takes the win here. I gotta quickly check if that was the second game or the third game or whatever. It was... Looks like it may have actually been game 1. It may have been just game 1. I don't see another game between those two. Unless it's already on the other... Looks like we might get another game between those two. All right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because the in-room replays page doesn't show you all the games. It's capped at like 20, I think. So maybe the other games just ended way earlier because they're not going back to the table. And also there's only 11 minutes left in the round, so I would be shocked if they only played one game so far. Okay, yeah, let's jump into this one. What is the best deck after the list? That's a tough question because the list isn't even in effect yet. I would guess that anything Mitsurugi related is going to be pretty strong. Mitsurugi, like either Pure or Mitsurugi Orchist or Mitsurugi Ryzeal. I think those are going to be pretty good. For me personally, I'm really looking forward to playing Sky Striker in a format with less Malice because that was a really hard matchup for Sky Striker. But I still don't know if it's going to be like the best deck or anything like that. But all right, and we see a Ghost Spell actually, which is a pretty good card against Malice, hitting the field spell. And there is the Red Ransom again. I heard Ryzeal Onomat is still a hard matchup for Sky Striker. If you make them start, yes. For sure, yeah. Oh, okay. Infinite Impermanence stopping the SP Little Knight here from banishing their own Red Ransom, which could be crucial, and it is crucial. They have to go to the end phase. Bell and Imperm is enough to stop their turn here, and it's Little Knight pass. And we have Ariana, the Labyrinth Servant. It's Labyrinth going second. Okay. Ariana is going to resolve. We're going to get a furniture here, Labyrinth Chandelier, and we're going to activate it, discarding an Ash Blossom. Okay, that's bold. And set one pass. All right. Malice gets another turn here, and Labyrinth only has 2 face downs. We're going to make a, what is this? Haggard Lizardos? No. Transcode Talker with SP and Multrami Pualos. Big welcome Labyrinth, but I think they drew that Ash Blossom for turn probably. Perfect answer for Big Welcome Labyrinth. And now is the last card that we have set an answer to this Transcode Talker? Because if it's not, next up is probably Access Code. We need something here. If this Access Code is not answered... Oh, we have the Karma Cannon. Okay, we have an answer for it. Oh, with the March here. Uh-oh. That's not good. Yeah. Yeah, the writing's on the wall here. The Ruma Karma Cannon they had to use it. They had no choice there. And I think very crucial Ash Blossom there, most likely off the top for Malice, because I think if they had it earlier, they may have ashed the Ariana. I'm not, maybe they just knew they could ash whatever it grabbed, but yeah. All right, and we have Malice victorious this time around. You know, they lost to Abo earlier, but this one they were able to win against Labyrinth, even though Labyrinth was able to stop their first turn. All right, do we have any other matches that are still going on, or is the top 32 finished? Any gamers that are still waiting for an opponent here, or... Might be done. Yeah. Is Red Ransom enough? Enough. Define enough is, I guess, what I would say to that. Like, I think hitting Red Ransom is going to hurt Malice a lot. I guess it depends. If you want the deck to still be decent, or if you just want the deck to be hit as hard as possible, I guess. Because I think it's still going to be reasonably strong, I guess. Or maybe playable. I don't know. I guess it depends. I do think the deck is still good enough to see some play. Are we talking around tier limit level of playability? Like, you mean, is Malice after Red Ransom is gone the same power level as tier limit is in Master Duel currently? Because if that's your question, I think it's better than that. I think if that's your question, then I think Malice is better after Red Ransom is gone. I think Malice is still better than tier limit currently is. I'm pretty sure. Like, basically, it's still going to be a deck that if you don't stop it, it's going to set up a board that's really, really powerful. It is still going to do that with 1 or 2 cards, and it is still going to draw multiple cards within that combo. Like, Red Ransom being gone doesn't change any of that. But of course, Red Ransom was basically part of every single Malice combo for good reason, right? Like, one thing that I could imagine is that Nibiru is going to be quite a lot stronger against Malice now. Which is, it's already like supposed to be a decent card against the deck, but because Red Ransom gives you the field spell so early, it's basically always like, well, if I Nibiru them now, then they have the field spell to just keep playing. And I think that not being available anymore is pretty good. But yeah. Okay, seems like top 32 was indeed finished, and we don't even have to go on a break because top 16 has just started. And let's go ahead and jump into let me pick a match of 2 people that we haven't seen yet today. Let's go Dennis versus Teramiare. Abo, please. We just did Abo in top 32. Come on, let's give some other players some spotlight. All right, we got Dennis going first. With a Tenny Spirit Adhara. What does this mean? Sword Soul? Sword Soul! In top 16? Alright, we make the new Tenny Synchro. Tenny Spirit Mula Adhara. If this card is synchro summoned, you can add a field spell from your deck to your... Oh no, what are you adding? What are you adding? What is this adding? Oh, the in... Okay, I was ready for some crazy stuff, but they were just adding the in-archetype field spell. Okay, nice. I am pleasantly surprised. I was expecting anything from Secret Village of the Spellcasters or Necro Valley or whatever, but it is just Tenny Infinity. And we add Vessel of the Dragon Cycle. Oh, you can't do Village. Okay, nice. I forgot about that. Adding Mallet in Underground would have been crazy, yeah. Okay, Vessel is going to send Moyi and search Suruya. We're going to use Ashina. Summon Shtana. Activate Suruya. Special it from the hand. The tuner. There is a Nibiru. That seems pretty good here. We are locked into worms. Oh no, set one pass. Ooh, we do play Flawless Perfection of the Tenny. That's nice. So Flawless Perfection of the Tenny is the card that I've messed around with in Paleo, actually, because if your opponent special summons an effect monster while you control a face down monster or non-effect monster, you can draw 2 cards. This does count for Paleos. It counts for, but it also counts for the token here. So if we special summon while the token is here, we draw 2 cards. Allure of Darkness. Is it another Malice Gamer? It is another Malice Gamer. Malice March Hare. Pay 300. And it's already looking quite grim for our Sword Soul Duelist. But we did, that's very funny. We do go into the battle phase to clear the token because we don't want the opponent to draw 2 cards. So at least, you know, the Tenny field spell has kind of bought us another turn. Kind of. Another allure though, they're just printing card advantage. Oh, but they do just banish March Hare again. They don't have another Malice name. Okay. Well, hey, top 16 with Sword Soul. Mad props to Dennis. Okay, I know you mean well, but the match has just started. This is game 1 of top 16. Calm down. They haven't lost yet. Just because they got Nibiru'd once in the first game. Like, come on. Not over yet. I mean, yeah, it's not looking great in this game, but even if they lose this game, there's more games after. Ooh, Called by the Grave onto that Dormouse, but they have another March Hare in hand. That is very good here. That was almost a really, really clutch Called by the Grave. Yeah, okay. All right, game 1 goes to Malice. But it was an honorable attempt. Unfortunately, they drew the Nibiru. Okay. 1-0 for Teramiare. Malice defeats Sword Soul. But I'm curious to see more of that Sword Soul deck. Because, I mean, there's got to be a reason they're in top 16. I mean, this tournament started with 128 players. So, yeah, let me see some of that. That was the Tenny field spell. Yes, they played Tenny Sword Soul with the new Tenny support. Maybe the reason is Protoss. I mean, Protoss is probably in this deck. Yes. It's probably in this deck. I'll give you that. Do you think Nib is a fair card? Yes. I think Nib is a fair card. All right, we have another chance to go first. Is it Sword Soul again? Please don't break. Moyi! Moyi effect. Reveal. Vishuda. We did not get Max Seed, is the good news. And we're making Yugioh. Okay. Now, Yugioh Chainlink 1, Moyi Chainlink 2. Draw 1, and then we could search the Sword Soul Emergence, which can search Protoss. But we go for a Longyan instead. And this is where I guess we could get Nibiru again if they play it, or if they have it again. Because this is where you would normally expect a Baron the Fleur. But it seems like no Nibiru this time around. And we activate Tenny Infinity again. How can I get into these duels? These are Challenger Cup tournaments, which are free to enter. And all you have to do is join the Discord server and then sign up for the tournaments. ! Challenger Cup. For the Discord link. We should have a command for it. I'm pretty sure we still have it. All right, there's the Baron. And we're gonna deal 1200 damage with the Longyan. And we just happen to have 3 attributes in the graveyard. Oh, we tribute the Yugioh for Heavenly Dragon Circle, which adds any worm monster from the deck to my hand. And Protoss is a worm monster. Okay, I think that's how we beat Malice. Yep, I see it. I see it. Yep. Right. Okay, so Protoss here, we call Dark. And now we cannot summon Dark monsters. So I guess here's to hoping for Terimiare that we don't play Malice again, because if it is Malice again, then we have a problem. Maybe we switched to Atlantean Mermail or something. It's one... Oh, it's one deck in this one. Okay. Right, my bad. Okay, well, I guess it is Malice again. Wait. If it's just one deck... then that means they win, but then they always played Sword Soul, which is also impressive. All right, well, Protoss is a pretty good card against Malice. And it means we go to a game 3. Protoss is based when it's done to Malice. I mean, you do have a point. You do have a point. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. But now, Sword Soul will have to go second against Malice, which is eerie. All right, Malice going first here. Activate field spell. Is there a prize pool for this tournament, or is it just for fun? Challenger Cups have prizes, yes. There's some pretty cool stuff on the line. We do have Max C, but there's a cross out. Okay. We're gonna stop that Max C, and it seems like that's gonna work out for them. So Max C negated, Dormouse resolves. And the Sword Soul fans are in shambles right now. There's Link Decoder, most likely followed up by a normal summon. Or backup, even better. Ooh, there is more though. But it's just Ash Blossom. It's just Ash Blossom, which might sound like Ash Blossom is a bad card. It's not, but it's not great against Malice, and specifically in this spot when the opponent already has the material for a Link 3 with Link Decoder included. It's like, eh. There's Red Ransom. The only good news about this is that the field spell has already been used, so it can only add Malice in the mirror. But this is still looking very, very good for Malice here. And Sword Soul is not known to be the best deck at breaking boards going second, especially not with 3 cards in hand. Ooh, I saw a little response window there. Do we have a Nibiru as well? Maybe. Maybe. There is something going on there. Gonna banish the March here. So how good would Nibiru be here if we did it on res here? They can still make Link Spider. They have March here in hand. But... and then Splash Mage, they still get to White Binder. It's not that great. But if it was a Nibiru, or if it is a Nibiru, they decided not to use it. What else could it be? I mean, maybe it's something irrelevant and they're just trying to spook the opponent into making a worse field. Does any of the Tenny cards, any of the new Tenny cards have like an effect to special summon itself even on the opponent's turn? Like anything that you could like bluff a toggle with? Not sure. Ooh, there's the Splash Mage now committed. Maybe now Nibiru is good, because how do they get to 3 bodies again? Still no Nibiru. Okay, this makes me think it's just got to be something else, something weird. I don't know what it would be, but I feel like this was a good Nibiru spot, wasn't it? Is this a different tournament from yesterday? Yes, this is a completely new tournament. Transcode Talker as well. Okay, we're going through a lot of extra deck options here. Brings back the Splash Mage. And it was Nibiru all this time. Why didn't we make a White Binder? Okay, I guess there we go. Splash Mage and Transcode Talker have been used. So now we don't have those options available anymore. We have March. So we know there's a March here, and we know there's a Malice in the Mirror in hand. So we're banishing Malice in the Mirror for the March here. But the thing is now, it still gets to 3 bodies, right? Because Malice in the Mirror banishes Dormouse, and I just now realized we haven't normal summoned yet, which is it's always crazy when this happens, where Malice just hasn't normal summoned. We can still normal summon this Chessy Cat, and now we draw? Wait. Didn't they add with Red Ransom like way earlier? Okay. That was a weird Roland Lockbird. But I mean, we did kind of open Maxi Ash Droll Nibiru. I mean, yeah, at least it stopped the Chessy Cat from drawing, and it's also going to stop the White Binder from drawing, and it's also going to... here's the thing, right? Like, they already used the GWC this turn, and if they don't play the TB11, they cannot go for the 07 because they're under draw. But I still, honestly, I still think this is very hard for Sword Soul to beat with 2 cards in hand. Okay, you need Ghost Bell is what you need. Ghost Bell for the GWC. And then, I don't know what else. Ghost Bell! Ghost Bell! Ghost Bell! Nope. That's a lot of effects you got there. That's a lot of card advantage in such an such a simplified game state, and all of a sudden here is 5 cards off of a White Binder. time. They have over 20 minutes left. Alright. The Nibiru crashes into the White Binder because its attack is swapped. We go to main phase 2. We could have stopped attacking, but I guess we want an open board for the tennies here. There is the 07 to search and banish the Adhara, and now I think it's... Quite frankly, I don't know what you can do with one card in Sword Soul. Is if any of the new Tenny cards maybe a one card combo without anything else? I'm not sure. But even then, we get the White Binder draw. We still have the Firewall Dragon to bounce a card. I do not see it. It is Tsuruya, that is the new Tenny, but that does not seem to be enough. And Malice takes down Sword Soul. It was cool to see Sword Soul though make it all the way into top 16. It was cool. All right, let's check in. Since it seems to be one of the few matches still running, let's check in with Abo against Astral. Now I don't know what the score here is. Well, let's just see what's going on there. Oh, Maxi in response to branded opening, and in 60 cards, not likely to draw an answer to that one, so we do not. We do search Aluber instead of special summoning it. And then we normal it instead, so we don't give a draw. Abo is on branded Mitsurugi. Activate branded fusion, but we also have Ash Blossom. Uh-oh. Ash is the branded fusion, and then we pass. So I guess the good news is we gave no draw to the Maxi. The bad news is it's Malice. And they have Gold Sarcophagus. Draco Tail, Yummy, or Canine, what do you predict next? I don't know, but I really hope it's Draco Tail or Yummy. Preferably Draco Tail. Preferably Draco Tail. I think Draco Tail releasing would make the upcoming Duelist Cup very nice. Would it be the best deck for the Duelist Cup? I think that's questionable. I think it wouldn't be. It's definitely not the deck with the highest ceiling in the game right now. There's definitely decks, even after the ransom ban. I think Malice makes a stronger board. Mitsurugi makes stronger boards. All the Ryziel stuff, Onomat, they make stronger boards. But I think Draco Tail would probably offer you an option for the Duelist Cup if you want to play a deck that like doesn't care much about stuff like Maxi or Fuwalos and Drollin Lockbird. So if like everyone is playing those cards to deal with Onomat and Mitsurugi and Ryziel and Malice and stuff like that, then I think it's a really nice option. Right? I think that'd be really cool. Draco Tail making people play Retaliating Sea will be funny for Maxi searches. It would be, yeah, if people actually do it. Back into the game here, we see a Nibiru, but there is a Dominus Impulse as well here. We just cannot catch a break. Malice opening Maxi, Ash Blossom, and Dominus Impulse, as well as the full Malice combo. Not looking great here for Abo in this one. I'm not sure if this is game 2 or 3. For Abo's sake, I'm hoping this is game 2. I'm hoping there's another game after this one. Sword Soul player here. I had an insane game in round 2 against Malice, going second, but you weren't streaming, sadly. Yeah, for this one, they told me to just start streaming from the top 32 onwards, but I can believe it. I'm happy to see you made it into the top 16. It was pretty nice to see some Sword Soul. It is game 3. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And it looks like if this was really game 3, another rogue deck has fallen to Malice. Maybe we can quickly confirm. Yup, that indeed was 2 wins for Astral over Abo. Alright, someone asked for Bronas earlier, but I don't see Bronas right now. Maybe he's already finished. Bronas won here. Yeah, Bronas already won. Bronas already won and is in top 8. We can spectate Bronas in top 8 though. For now, let's see what we've got going on between Kat and Kagetane. All right. Seems like another 60 card deck over there versus Mitsurugi. Okay, draw phase prayers to add Habakiri, no tribute. Activate Habakiri, resolve, tribute Saji, Saji effect. Search for the ritual spell. Okay. Activate ritual spell to summon from hand, tributing Aramasa and Kusanagi. And activate both of their effects. Adding back prayers. Okay, indicating we drew a second copy of the ritual spell, I think. Gonna add Futsu and add back prayers. And indeed, we do have another copy of the ritual spell. Here comes Murakumo. And I guess we don't know yet if it's pure Mitsurugi or any sort of hybrid version. Habakiri comes back from the graveyard. We activate Mirror, tributing the Murakumo. Summoning Futsu. Murakumo adds the trap card. Normal summon Night Sword Serpent. Make IP Masquerena. Looks like it is pure Mitsurugi. Set 3 and pass. Okay, pretty good end board for pure Mitsu, but not unbeatable for a 60 card engine deck. We go for Fiendsmith Tract, searching Santa Claus, and discarding Orchest Harp Horror. We get hit with a Droll and Lockbird here. I'm not gonna lie to you, that Droll and Lockbird is not even that good here because we're gonna stop a lot of our own effects. So we give them Santa Claus, but that triggers Futsu to add back, to bring back Kusanagi. Normal summon Lacrima, force him to discard for the effect. We're discarding Kusanagi. It is a Fiendsmith Mitsurugi Orchest here. Triggering the Futsu again. Engraver effect, shuffle back Lacrima. Requiem effect. Negate that with the Purification. And now because Droll is active, we cannot activate Murakumo in the graveyard. Requiem equips to Engraver. Engraver effect, gonna try to send the Futsu, successfully activate Harp Horror. Brings out the Girsu. Galatea Eye into regular Galatea effect. Sets Crescendo. Now makes Ding Girsu. Hits the prayers. That's pretty big. Galatea Eye comes back. We drew Babel. Activate Nightmare. What is this last set? Did we just outmaneuver? Honestly, I'll tell you one thing right now. if they didn't droll, that setup was so much harder to break. If all of their Mitsurugis trigger when they get tributed and all that stuff, like, it was so much harder to break this board if they didn't self-droll. Okay, well, Orcust wasn't able to set up that much though, so maybe there's a chance here. Normal Summon Saji is going to give us a Mitsurugi Ritual. We go for Tornado Dragon. But that... okay. Nightmare Phoenix. Discard Ritual. Destroy Babel, we just protect it. Activate Great Purification to try and bring this back. This is not going to work out the way you think it is, because we can still bring back with the thing even if the monster is gone. Prayers, take 800. Revive Habakiri. This is massive. Trap brings back Murakumo, tributes the Habakiri. And now the Habakiri activates. Gonna destroy the Dingirsu with the Murakumo, and we get to search Aramasa. Okay. Activate Crescendo in the graveyard to get your search. Gets Harp Horror. Why did we search Aramasa? We only play 2 ritual spells? Oh no, 3 ritual spells are gone. Okay, fair enough. Make Dynamondo. Dynamondo effect. Get rid of Babel. We chain Droplet with the Harp Horror. Nice. Even though it was probably worth considering holding that Droplet. But we can still go Symbol Skeleton in the end phase. And just deal with the Dynamondo here. Nice call. And it looks like Orcust is winning this through the full Pure Mitsu board. Droll and Lockbird on top, which, to be fair, that kind of made it easier. But also completely uninterrupted, you know? They didn't have a single interruption and they won. Just further, you know, I guess proving my point that the Pure Mitsurugi deck can be fun to play against. It's a pretty fair deck. If it's the Pure Mitsu deck, it's quite enjoyable to watch as well. Like, I think this is a good duel to go back to and rewatch and try and see how it would have gone if we just didn't use the Droll and Lockbird as soon as we realized it was a Mitsurugi deck, a Orcust deck, which Droll doesn't really hurt that much. But, yeah. And Fiendsmith Orcust takes down Mitsurugi here, going second. And I probably... I mean, this could have been game 3, but also could have been game 2. I'm not sure. Let's see. It was Cat and Kagetane. Cat has won 2 games. Okay. I don't know if it was a 2-0 or a 2-1. It was a 2-1. Okay, it was game 3. Sweet. It seems like all matches are finished except for one. So let's jump into this one. Let's jump in from now. Let's see what it's like. There's not that much time left, about 8 minutes. Have we seen any Lunalight? We have not seen Lunalight, no. Ooh, we see Orcust again here. Orcust Fiendsmith? Orcust Fiendsmith on the side of Anestus here, going up against what looks like Pure Mitsurugi. And we are in the middle of a heated duel. All right, it is turn 3, main phase 1 for Anestus. We are going for some Orcust plays, and it seems like not many disruptions left on the side of Mitsurugi here. Actually, nothing on the board that is a disruption at the moment. I would assume this is game 3. There's 8 minutes left. I would assume it's game 3, but I don't know for sure. Ooh, a Boral Sword Dragon. Ooh, was that a timeout? No. We surrendered. Why did we surrender? It was the second win here for Lingo. Maybe it just wasn't enough and they knew the follow-up would end the game next turn. I'm not sure. Dinner was ready. maybe dinner was ready. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it just wasn't enough because the Boral Sword Dragon lost attack points from the Habakiri. So maybe they were trying to hurry because they were low on time and they summoned the wrong Link 4. I have no idea. Anyways, I think that is the end of our top 16. And I will be right back with the top 8 matches after a very short break. So hope everyone is enjoying the game so far. I think specifically this top 16 was pretty fun to watch. We saw some pretty cool decks in action. And I hope everyone is going to stick around until we start watching the top 8 together in just a few minutes. And we're back, duelists. The top 8 has just begun. And due to popular request, we're going to go ahead and check in with Bronas against Astral. Because people wanted to see Bronas in top 16, but he was already finished. So let's see what we got. All right, Bronas going first here. Let's see. Yesterday, I think Bronas played Gem Knights with Fiendsmith, so it could be that. We have a Dominus Impulse here on the Fiendsmith sequence. Not bad. And especially because we committed the normal summon for this, and it is indeed a pass turn after this Dominus Impulse on the Fiendsmith sequence. Normal summon backup is not your preferred start, but it is a start. We do hit it with Ash Blossom. And there is the one of Called by the Grave onto the Ash Blossom. That is bad news. But we actually have the one of Crossout to counter the one of Called by. I mean, yeah, fair enough. Also, Crossout, unfortunately, not able to counter Dominus Impulse for Bronas because obviously it doesn't play that card in the Fiendsmith deck. So the backup will be negated. Now, does Malice have a way to extend here, or are we... We might just attack this Fiendsmith sequence with the backup at Ignister, but there is guaranteed Fiendsmith follow-up, so right now, Fiendsmith is looking pretty good here. We are thinking about our options, I guess. And there is nothing there. All right, we just go to the battle phase. Backup at Ignister is going to trade with the sequence, but that is not a good trade for Malice because Lacrima is ready to bring that back. Here in the end phase, the sequence is going to go right back onto the field. And that is not good news for Astral here. We need more interruptions in the hand here. Maybe a second copy of Dominus Impulse would be pretty nice. First things first, though, we're going to have another copy of Fiendsmith Track. Searching the Lurie that has been shuffled back into the deck and discarding it. Ooh, there is a response window. Maybe a Bestial? If there is one, we're not using it yet. Is this really Gem Knight? Yesterday it was. Yesterday Bronas was playing Fiendsmith Gem Knight, but yes, so far we haven't seen much of that. Well, I mean, who knows? Fiendsmith Engraver is attempting to use its effect to return to the field. And we're linking the Lurie into a Requiem that we just put back into the extra deck. Haven't used the sequence effect yet, but that's probably just because we want to load up on more Light Fiends in the graveyard before we do. Which is why we're doing a couple of these things. It's going to make this a lot weaker into a Nibiru, but we don't have to worry about that actually, because there was a Dominus Impulse that was used from hand on turn 1. So that's good. Using Fiendsmith Tract in the graveyard here to fuse. Gonna combine Lacrima and Engraver for the other Lacrima. That's gonna attempt to revive the Engraver. At this point, I think Astral is likely holding either a Bestial or another Dominus Impulse, but just hasn't really found a spot where they were happy to use it. But if you just don't use it at all, it's going to end up being even worse, I guess. But it seems like Bronas so far unable to access the Gem Knight package. Can Fiendsmith access the Gem Knight package, or is it just the other way around? Like, I'm sure Gem Knight can make Closed Moon and then go into Fiendsmith. Sprint. Oh yeah, Sprint for... But Sprint was more so for like Diviner. Yeah, Sprint for Diviner, then Elf it back. Fair enough, yeah. We decide to just take this amount of damage here, putting Astral down to 2,000, which is not in range of Lacrima Burn. It is in range of double Lacrima Burn. So one thing we could do now is we could somehow Fiendsmith, like we could burn now with Lacrima and then somehow resummon another Lacrima with Fiendsmith Sequence? Or we can bring it back. It is a second copy of Dominus Impulse. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. And that's actually, right now, really, really bad for Bronas. Normal summon Ava. Okay. Normal summon Ava. Probably Sprite Elf. No? Sprite Sprint. Okay. Sprite Sprint for Crystal Rose. Crystal Rose effect. Banish a fusion. Special summon it back. Okay. Send Nepirim for Crystal Rose. Alright, that works. Send a card from hand. Oh, it was the Gem Knight Fusion. Okay, we bricked. It was a pretty bad hand for Bronas. Gem Knight Fusion and Ava. That was pretty tough. All right, Nepirim grabs Dispersion. Here's the thing. I know that Gem Knights have also some ways to inflict some damage, but I don't know if they can access it here in this version of the deck. At the same time, 800 life points is pretty tough for Malice, because that means we cannot use any of the Link monsters' banished effects, and we can only use 2 main deck monsters in the banished zone, unless we can gain some life points back with an early GWC somehow. All right, we go for Gem Knight Lady Rose Diamond. which is Detonator, but only during your turn, basically. We're getting Gem Knight Fusion back. We're paying 1,000 to get the fusion effect from Phantom Quartz. And that is going to be Seraphinite. That's giving us another normal summon. We're activating the other effect of Gem Knight Dispersion, which is to add a gem monster from deck to hand, which we probably will normal summon, the Armadillo. Yeah. We have gone through Fiendsmith already this turn, so we cannot do that again. So, normal summon Nepirim, that gives us another normal summon for Armadillo, and we've seen enough. Okay, well, I mean, I don't think Bronas was going to finish the game this turn, but at the same time, they probably knew that there was no way out of that one, because it was going to be a pretty good board, as well as you only have 800 life points in your Malice deck. So the writing was on the wall, and Bronas takes the first game after some pretty bad first turns from both players, but the turn 3 was then popping off. Okay. Maybe Protoss. I know that the Gem Knight deck is capable of setting up Christia, which is what Bronas was doing yesterday with the deck. By basically, you can go Sprite Sprint, send Diviner of the Herald, then bring Diviner of the Herald back with Sprite Elf, and then make like a Bawa queue and bring back the Christia, which is only possible until Friday, because then Christia will no longer be allowed. But I think that is currently the plan. And seems like we have a connection problem into the second game here. Oh, never mind. Lied. Okay. Oh. Okay, someone had a connection problem there. I think we're just gonna repeat that game. I knew something was off when the loading animation was taking this long. I was surprised when it loaded me into the game, and I was like, yeah, something's not right here. Yeah, they're gonna try and join a different table, I believe. Did you try Trapaholic in that Paleo deck yet? Not yet. There's a lot of things I want to do, but my November was just very busy leading up to YCS Bologna. So lots of things in the plan or in the making for December. It's gonna be a cool month because I'm gonna have a lot more time for content and streaming and all that. All right, game 2. Astral going first with Allure of Darkness, and we hit him with Herald of Green Light. What's the discard with it? Gem Knight Nepirim. Okay. Negating Allure of Darkness. Goodbye. And then Gem Knight Nepirim is going to activate, send one card from hand to grave, and summon itself. Now, here's the thing, right? It's not actually that strong what just happened, because it was basically like ashing Allure of Darkness, which if they have any more plays in hand is not going to be that good. Normal summon Chessy Cat. Do we have Herald of Orange Light as well? Looks like we don't. That's what I mean. If there's a good banish here, like a Dormouse or whatever. Okay, Malice in the Mirror, not the best banish, actually. The good news about the opponent banishing Malice in the Mirror for Chessy Cat is that this alone is not a combo yet. And that's always a little bit of hope there, because if those 4 cards do not have an extender, then this will not play. Like, there needs to be a Bestial or backup Adignister or March Hare or Wizard. There's a lot of cards they could have, and they do have the backup, but it's always nice to be like, okay, maybe they don't have it. But in this case, they do have it. Backup Adignister is going to summon itself and search. We're going to search Dormouse and discard Dormouse. Evan Schultz, I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, Splash Mage here is going to attempt to revive Chessy Cat. And here it is, one last ride for Red Ransom. But here's the thing, they are going to make Red Ransom here, but like, just think about it for a moment. If we make White Binder here instead, like in a few days when you can't make Red Ransom anymore, I feel like it's still pretty strong, isn't it? In like these kind of game states, it doesn't really matter what you start with. Like White Binder, target Dormouse, and Chessy Cat to banish both or something, like it's still really good. I feel like. It matters a lot, kinda. Exactly. That's what I mean though, right? Like, it matters a lot, kind of. And then in some cases, it also doesn't matter, which is kind of what I mean. Like, of course, it's a meaningful hit, don't get me wrong. But it's like, you know, does it really matter that much in these kind of situations? I don't know. It means they need to use backup to get to their engine. Okay, yeah, the fact that the effect of Red Ransom when it gets banished lets you banish any Cybers from the deck means like you find the Malice name that you're missing a lot easier, right? Like it's like, okay, well, I don't have White Rabbit in rotation, no problem, Ransom is going to banish it. Or like I wasn't able to draw the 2 cards off of Chessy Cat, so I need to banish that for Red Ransom and so on. And like that is a fair point. Not being able to set that up as easily like means you might have to use backup to search the name that you're missing, and you don't have you cannot search Wizard. You almost never have Chessy Cat live mid combo. That is also true, yeah. Essentially, the question I'm asking is like, does it matter enough to the point where I feel like sometimes the Malice combos were so far over the top that I think taking away those couple extra cards maybe, or maybe access to Chessy Cat altogether because you can't afford to banish it, because you can't have access through it via Red Ransom. Like I feel like it's still good enough if it actually gets to play. Going second with engine into half boards, I'd say it matters. That, yes, it's definitely going to be harder going second because it's way easier to, or like rather, the deck doesn't automatically win anymore if it gets to summon 1 Link 3, I suppose. Because if your first Link 3 is White Binder, that does not necessarily facilitate more extension, right? Like, if the first Link 3 is Red Ransom, because that searches you the field spell, that also always basically extends. White Binder does not necessarily extend unless you already have unused Malice names in the graveyard. You can't search the field spell to insulate versus Nibiru. That is also true. However, you can, in this particular example, I think going for Whitebinder to set a trap card and then just continuing to play and keeping the trap card set is like also a pretty good Nibiru installation, right? But yeah. I think one thing that's going to change the way I look at this a lot is if it turns out that now Whitebinder, I mean, Whitebinder is going to be the first link, Malice link they make now, basically all the time. If that Whitebinder has to set TB11 and they cannot set up the GWC in their combo, I think that would make it a lot more bearable, because then the end board actually gets weaker. But yeah, all things considered, the more I theorize about it, the more I talk about it, the more I feel like the deck is still going to be good. And just like the fact that it's less good than before, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's less good than before. But like less good than this good is potentially still pretty strong, is all I'm trying to say. What would be a perfect hit for Malice? Whitebinder. I think Whitebinder is the one. I was also a big fan of what they did in the TCG, where they limited, or rather banned, some of the generic Cyber's extra deck tools like Link Decoder and Splash Mage. I thought that was also a pretty elegant solution to it, even though still not enough, because Malice is still really strong in the TCG. I think combining the Link Decoder and Splash Mage hits with like a Red Ransom or Whitebinder ban would be perfect. But it's just not something that Master Duel has been doing, right? Like, Master Duel has just been fine with those generic extra cards. But I did really like that they did that in TCG. Ooh, a Max C behind a Malice board. Another thing that I could see happening is that Malice isn't played in the same way anymore, but maybe people could still find a way to make like a Cyber's pile deck work, where you just play a whole bunch of different Cyber's engines, like maybe like, you know, Circular comes back into it and stuff like that, and then you just play like a Cyber's pile with like the Adignister stuff, some Malice names, some Mathmech cards, just like a bunch of stuff that just puts Cyber's names onto the board, and then you turn that into like Cyber's Wicked. Wicked gives you backup, backup gives you Malice, and then you still get there, you know? I could definitely see that. Brilliant Fusion just resolved, even though we had an allied code talker, which is kind of interesting. Am I missing something? Time probably. You think they're out of time and they can't use allied code talker anymore? I mean, maybe you're right. It'd be a win con, I guess. They did combo for a long time with their Malice strategy. But they are letting them cook for like a lot. I was not expecting Bronas to get this far, so who knows? Activate Hollow Core. Special summon itself. How far away? Deck out? Nah, 22. Not really. Okay, we make Phantom Quartz. Another draw. We search Nepirim. Pay 1,000 to try and fuse with Phantom Quartz. But they keep having this response window, right? They keep having the chance to react and thinking about it. So their timer cannot be that low. Like with the time that they just had, they could have easily negated the Brilliant Fusion with Allied Code Talker. Right? How did we get this far if they still have time? There's Lady Rose Diamond. Dispersion summons Seraph Knight. Add back Gem Knight Fusion. Now we Magnamute the Hollow Core to stop it from having the negate. We banish a Gem Knight card from the grave to pop a card. I guess we can force the Allied Code Talker now. We banish the Hollow Core to stop the Magnamute from hitting the board as well. That's gonna force Allied Code. We tribute Whitebinder to negate and banish the Lady Rose Diamond. Yeah. Hello, Dragonfire. Alright, but it is Detonator on your own turn and only for face-up cards, so we can chain it again to the Allied Code Talker to destroy the field spell. Allied Code Talker negate and banishes the Lady Rose Diamond. Magnamute does not have anything to banish, and Gem Knight Fusion comes back into the hand. Okay. Why the field spell? Maybe we're worried about the fact that it swaps the attack and defense of some monsters. And we make Fiendsmith Sequence using this thing, which is the one that summons 3 from the extra deck. I was expecting us to use that effect, but... Oh no, that's Red Ransom. Ah! We don't want to be forced to attack the Link monsters, I guess. Do we have a big piercing monster? I mean, technically Agnum Day, right? Technically Fiendsmith's Agnum Day could produce a very big piercing monster over the White Rabbit, but that's not 8,700. It's not that big. It's not that big. $16 cards left in the deck for Astral. Gem Knight Ruby has piercing. Gem Knight Ruby, but yeah, yes, but Gem Knight Ruby does not have 9,000 attack, right? Probably. I think I'm gonna make an educated guess and say that Gem Knight Ruby does not win over White Rabbit here with piercing. I don't know its stats, but I don't think it's 9,000. I think I would have heard about that. This is Fiendsmith, so they don't have room for more fusions. Okay, so genuine question. Do you just never plan to use the effect of Gem Knight Master Diamond Dispersion to tag out into 3 non-rock gem monsters? Like, do you just not use that effect in this deck? Because that to me feels like the reason to play that monster, but it's mostly to send 3 with Brilliant. Okay, so we just play it so we can send 3 gem monsters. Understood. Interesting. Gem Knight is one of the decks that I'm not as familiar with because it didn't really pop off as hard in the TCG. I mean, I'm familiar with the cards, but I don't know exactly how to use it. I mean, this does look like enough damage to me, though. This is a lot of damage, plus we get 1,200 from the Lacrima afterwards. We've got... but there's a Bestial. Oh, that Bestial hurts. Oh, he actually timed out! Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's one way to beat full Malice combo and Max C is if the opponent just takes too long to combo and then takes too long to interrupt. Look, we could have just... from my perspective, we definitely had a little bit of time throughout that last turn. We could have just called it a day, Allied Code Talker negate Brilliant Fusion and hope that's enough. And then we probably had enough time for that. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take a time limit win for Fiendsmith Gem Knight. All right. Congratulations, Bronaz, for moving on to the top 4. Any other matches still going on? Does not seem like it. Okay. Well, and with that, it seems like we have our top 4 decided. And since that was the last match, it's probably not going to be a very long break, but we will be back with the top 8 of this Challenger Cup very, very shortly. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. All right, we are closing in on the finish line here, and it is time for the top 4 of the Challenger Cup. Today, we've got Bronas up against Hans Nötig and Name Magician versus Guitarme. I've been told top 4 has 1 Gem Knight and 3 Malice decks. So let's jump into Bronas versus Hans, because that is the last remaining non-Malice duelist in the tournament. All right, Max C here. Resolves. Okay. Okay. Banishes Malice in the Mirror for March here, which is not great here. Draw the card. And it's already looking grim for Malice, I guess. Life can be so simple sometimes. Just resolve Max C against Malice. We do have the self-droll here, which I guess is decent, but at the same time, we are down to very, very few cards already. Normal summon Meowls together with the March here. Does this even combo? We can make Almirage for a second Cybers. Oh yeah, okay, and then Splash Mage. That does play. But at the same time, because we self-drolled, Splash Mage, revive March here, and then what? We can't Red Ransom because Droll. I mean, we can Red Ransom, but how do we banish it? There is an Imperm as well onto the Splash Mage. And this might just be the end of the turn. End of the turn, indeed. 4 cards invested, nothing really achieved. Bronas still vibing with 5 cards in hand. And we start with Gem Knight Hollow Core. Send Gem Knight Fusion from deck to grave to summon itself. We have a counter Max C. Does that one resolve as well? It doesn't. We have Herald of Orange Light to counter it. And I feel like this might already be enough. I mean, Malice has 0 interruption here. And here comes the Hollow Core. And unfortunately, I was really looking forward to seeing some Gem Knight combos. But Malice leaves. And we have a game 1 win here for Bronas. Gem Knights up a game against Malice in the first top 4 match. All right. All right, I guess we have another shot. Going first here with Malice. Normal summon White Rabbit, already looking like a better start than last time. Never mind. Never mind. It is not a better start than last time. It is actually also pretty bad. Artifact Lancia hits the Malice Duelist in game number 2, and we might be looking at potentially a very quick top 4 match. It really is crazy how even after the introduction of Mitsurugi and Sky Striker and all those other archetypes, it still is a winning strategy in these Challenger Cups to just play Lancia because there's so many people playing Malice. We set empty the TB11 here, but we cannot use it this turn. Most likely, we're just going to end the turn here. Yup, there it is, pass turn. And now it's 5 cards against whatever Hans has drawn to defend themselves here. And we have another Hollow Core here in game number 2. Last time, Hans' response to this was to scoop. It hits the field, no Max C to counter. Activate Dispersion. And we ash that one because it would be using materials from the deck. Okay. Negates the Dispersion here. Normal summon Diviner of the Herald. I'm not sure how happy you are drawing this card, but it can't be that bad, right? Send Neperim, get the effect. Yeah. Discard Ava as well. Ooh, that's probably going to activate, right? We can only banish 1, so we only get 1 search, but still. Banish Lancia to get a search, and then Neperim is also going to get a search. We're getting a Herald of Green Light off of the Ava. And Neperim is going to grab us Dispersion. Golden Lockbird afterwards. I do think there's probably a Herald of Orange Light in hand for Bronas here, if I had to guess, because if you didn't have Orange Light, you probably search Orange Light. Yeah, yeah. I felt like that was pretty obvious. So we use that Orange Light to negate the Drolan Lockbird, activate Dispersion, to add a Gem monster. It's going to be Gem Armadillo. which we can normal summon because Neperem gives us an extra normal summon. To add any Gem Knight monster from deck to hand. Gonna be another Neperem. This, I believe, was summon number 4. Does this deck have room for Baron the Fleur? Doesn't seem like it. We see Gem Knight Phantom Quartz. Thinking about it here, I mean, this thing is a monster negate. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Gem Knight fusion monster, quick effect, banish 3 gem cards from your grave, including this card. 3 Gem Knight cards. So if we allowed the fusion summon of the Phantom Quartz, then they could negate a potential Nibiru. However, Diviner also has an effect if it's tributed. Special summon a level 2 or lower fairy from hand or deck. So if we Nibiru here, they still have 2 cards in hand to extend, and the Diviner could summon something from the deck. Shuffling back Lancia is funny, because we're making Gem Knight Seraphonite, which needs a Gem Knight and a light monster. Extra normal summon, another copy of Neperem. We've gone through all of its effects already. It's just going to be another body. Decent amount of damage on the board already. And there is a Nibiru, but there's a negate for it now. Yeah, okay, well, Okay, that resolves. And, okay. Alright, sure. I guess we did not read Hollow Core properly. Maybe we thought that it needed to banish 3 Gem Knight monsters, but it was just 3 Gem Knight cards. Maybe they thought they didn't have enough monsters in the graveyard. But, well, the Nibiru was negated, and Bronas moves on to the finals with a 2-0 victory over Malice. Okay. Seems like Bronas has a good matchup against Malice, which is good news for him, because there's 2 Malice duelists in the other top 4 match. Let me quickly get the standing. It is currently 1-0 for Gitarmi. And therefore, Name Magician is going first. All right, White Rabbit for 07. Activate 07. Get ashed. End phase. Ooh, okay. We're not even activating the White Rabbit because we have Charmies in hand. I see you. Cross out Designator onto the Fualos, though. Normal summon another Fualos. Activate Max C. Allure of Darkness. This is a weird game. Battle phase. Oh no! Not the Fua. Okay. Pass turn. Oh god, they couldn't play. This is a Malice game of all time. Do something! Okay, there we go. Another Max C. And the self-droll again. All right, White Rabbit. Set GWC. Link 1 for decoder. Activate Magnum Mood. Okay, well, at least we can't search with that because we're under our own role if there is an end phase. Prepare. Battle phase. Yeah, Cryptor self-banish is going to be enough here. There's no Bestial or Impulse. And there isn't. Okay, what a weird what a weird game. Well, okay. Equalizes the score and brings us to a game 3 between these two duelists. Unless I missed something. Army, yeah, game 3. All right, and it's going to be Gitarmi going first here. However, Fualos in draw phase resolves. Fualos not the end of the world for Malice. You can still make a solid half board. Normal summon White Rabbit. Set GWC. How much do we commit into this Molcharmy? I mean, White Rabbit is already not the best starter in Malice. We do go for a Link 1, which is going to give a draw. I thought that was another self-draw, but it was just a Bestial, quote-unquote. And I guess we could make a Red Ransom, search Malice in the mirror, and call it a day. It's not the best opener, though, to be fair, if that's what we got. So, it is, in fact, the Red Ransom, which is going to put the opponent to 6 cards in hand already. We're going to activate both of our effects. Not going to draw anything for the Link Decoder returning from the graveyard. Ransom is going to search. The field spell, okay. We are not done yet, it seems like. Activate the field spell. Banishing Dormouse. Dormouse is going to be summoned from the banished zone. Not going to draw anything for that either. Probably going to grab a March here. Or Chessy Cat if we can draw with it, but looks like we cannot. We're going to March here first. And now what? Another draw. Another draw, and this one is going to be for Allied Code Talker at Ignister. So this is going to be the end of the combo because you can no longer summon after you resolve this effect. So we're going to summon back the Rat Ransom. We have a negate for anything. However, we also gave our opponent 8 cards in hand now. So we'll see if the negate off of the Allied Code Talker plus whatever we have next to it is going to be enough. Activate Allure of Darkness because we don't have enough cards yet. Imagine they just discard their hand. Alright, banish Chessy Cat because we don't have enough cards yet. Do we have another Maxi to counter? No. Activate MTP 07, we get hit with an Ash Blossom. I mean, that was kind of likely. Thing is, you can't even negate this one, because if you do negate it, you don't actually get the banish off of the MTP 07 because the ransom is gone. So gonna let that go through. Activate Chessy Cat. Seems like an okay allied code talker negate, honestly, because you stop the draw 2, you stop the banish, and you stop the body on the board because it banishes the Chessy Cat, but we decide to let it go through. Banishes a March Hare. All right, back to 8 cards in hand, and now March Hare effect, back to 9 cards in hand. Normal summon White Rabbit. Activate effect of White Rabbit. Sets their own copy of GWC. They now both have GWC, but it doesn't really pose any threat from Guitarmy because there's no White Binder or anything like that, or Cryptor. We make Lingaribo, so now we could even stop it. And we now follow it up with March Hare. Now we choose to go for the allied code talker. Rereading the Red Ransom. Gonna banish the March here. And stop that from coming out. Okay. Now, essentially, from what we know, this was all of the disruptions that Guitarmy has here. Of course, there could be non-engine in hand, like Nibiru, Impulse, Ash Blossom, whatever. But from the stuff that we know about, this is it. Okay. And we leave because we see a Bestial. Okay. Seems like that was all they had, and they see the writing on the wall. And honestly, it was just the Molcharmy Fualos here that was good enough here for them to take the win. I don't know. I feel like maybe there was a way to set up a better half board into a Molcharmy without giving this many draws, but sometimes it'd be tough. Sometimes it can be tough. And Malice wins, turns it around as well. They were down the first game, but won game 2 and game 3. We're able to win game 3, going second as well. So they move into the finals, and our finals, we're not going to have a break beforehand because obviously there's nothing to wait for. Gonna update the overlay real quick, and the finals is going to be Bronas on Gem Knights versus Name Magician on Malice. Okay, Malice versus Gem Knights is the finals of this Challenger Cup. Let's see who's able to take it all down. I guess this is going to be rather dependent. I mean, I was gonna say like it's rather dependent on who goes first, but then I remembered like both of these duelists actually have a lot of cards that can help them win going second. Like we saw the Molcharmy Fualos for Name Magician, which is also really good against the Gem Knight deck. But then again, Bronas has a bunch of extra interruptions that most decks don't play, like we saw Herald of Orange Light, Herald of Green Light, Artifact Lancia, which you don't see in every deck anymore, but in Bronas's deck it's there. So honestly, anything could happen here. The coin toss might not be as important as you think, but I guess we're about to find out. All right, game one. And we have Malice going first. They won the coin toss. And they are headed into their main phase. Dormouse is one way to start things off. And it resolves. No Herald of the Orange Light onto the Dormouse. And we're even banishing Chessy Cat, indicating that we have even more Malice cards in hand. Chain Mag C, however. Is there an answer? There is a response. But we haven't used it yet, indicating that it can't be that easy, which means it's probably not just Ash Blossom or Called by Her Crossout. Because those would have been a pretty easy decision. Well, we do have Ash Blossom, actually. Never mind. Maybe. Okay, you know what? We probably have multiple of those, which is even worse. And we just took this time to think about which one we use, which is brutal. All right, well. Ah, we have the Molcharmy, and we decided to play it this way around. Okay. Yeah, they have another one, don't they? No, that resolves. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, real talk though, what were we thinking about for a solid 10 to 15 seconds when the Maxi was activated and we only had Ash Blossom? I feel like that's a fair question to ask. Probably internet issue or baby droll in hand. Do you really think, like, I mean, I get what you're saying, but like, I just feel like the answer can never be let the Maxi resolve and then self-droll instead of just ashing. I feel like that would never really be the answer. Did you just open Dormouse, Chessy Cat, and White Rabbit? I think so. The gang is all here, I guess. Oh wait, no, the Chessy Cat was banished by Dormouse. Yeah, you're right. They didn't draw that. It was Dormouse, White Rabbit, and Ash. Ooh, seems like the Fualos drew an Orange Light. I don't think that was there earlier. We probably would have Orange Lighted the Ash Blossom. Hitting the Dormouse, potentially really good here. Hitting the Ransom. So, I mean, either we already had the Orange Light, but we were missing the Fairy, or we had the Fairy, but we were missing the Orange Light. I don't think we had that already. Okay, Druid's Worm is the perfect extension here, though. We're going to banish the Ransom, and that's just going to allow us to keep going. But we are still under the Fualos, I guess, is the kind of good news. At the same time, the news is not that good because we only have 2 cards in hand. So even if we get 1 or 2 more draws, we're not going to have that many cards. It could just be a hard script or pass here, or we go through Whitebinder. Not sure. Oh, Allied Code Talker. Okay. Sure. Once again, we see Allied Code Talker instead of Hard Scripter as an end board. I guess when the opponent is down to just about to be 4 cards, then negating one of them could be pretty good. All right, draw for turn, 4 cards in hand, trying to beat an Allied Code Talker, and another copy of Max C behind that. That is going to make things very unpleasant for Bronas. And it does resolve. Normal summon Gem Armadillo. So their hand was what? Their hand was Dormouse, Ash Blossom, White Rabbit, Max Seed, Druis Worm. Some of that was drawn off of Chessy Cat, to be fair, but yeah. Pretty good. Alright, Allied Code Talker is going to negate and banish Gem Knight Fusion. That's potentially pretty annoying. End phase, yep, that's rough. GWC and Concession. Yeah, we cannot beat that opener. Gem Knight goes down in the first game, and Name Magician is just 1 win away potentially from taking down this last autumn season Challenger Cup. And Bronas is going to have to win 2 games back-to-back with the Gem Knight deck in order to win the tournament. Yeah, banishing Gem Knight Fusion is big because it has that effect to keep adding itself back from the graveyard. It's not like the most important card in Gem Knights, but just it is something that they try to add back multiple times over the course of the turn and try to like add it back and use it for discard and stuff like that. Yeah. They are 0-1, my bad. Not 1-1. All right, and we start things off with Hualos, responded to by Ash Blossom. So Bronas gonna go first here. 4 cards versus 4 cards. Activate Brilliant Fusion. Okay. And it resolves. We're sending 3 to summon the Master Diamond Dispersion. And that is going to trigger Nepirim in the graveyard, where we have to send a card and summon itself back, as well as Forts to add a Gem Knight monster from the deck to the hand. Or graveyard, I guess. All right. Nepirim discards a 2nd copy of Brilliant Fusion, brings itself back. On summon, it's going to be able to activate and add a Gem Knight card from deck to hand. Probably Dispersion. There it is. Activate Hollow Core, sending the Gem Knight Fusion from deck to grave to summon itself. Already a lot of bodies, and once this Gem Knight Hollow Core hits the graveyard, as long as you control a fusion monster, you're gonna have a monster negate as well for a potential Nibiru. Gonna use Dispersion here to add Armadillo, which we can normal summon because Nepirim allows us to give it a 2nd normal summon. I mean, technically this is the 1st normal summon, but it is an extra normal summon. Hollow Core is Omni. Hollow Core is Omni, right? True. I thought it was just monsters. This is probably going to be Gem Knight Phantom Quartz. Also a really strong card. On summon, adds a card and then pays 1,000 life points to like fuses, but using the material from banishment to shuffle them back. Or graveyard, I believe. Grave or banishment, yeah. Really strong. And we're gonna make a Seraphonite with the Dispersion. Now gonna use Gem Knight Fusion, banish 1 from grave to add itself back to the hand. When is the next stream? On Tuesday. There's gonna be streams on this upcoming week. I'm gonna stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday is next week. Maybe Friday. I'm not sure yet. Nib? I mean, there could be a nib, but there is a hollow core to stop it. So it would have to be like nib plus Bestial or something like that. But there's 2 hollow cores actually, so nib plus Bestial wouldn't even do it. And there's a Beansmith's Desiree that hits the board. Now the question after all this is, do we also get to Christia here? Probably, right? I think that makes Christia. I think if you go Sprite, Sprint, send Diviner, then make Gigantic Sprite, I think you can. There's the Abow to bring back the Christia on the opponent's turn. And I think that's going to be good enough. Tavenitas, I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, now these two are going to make Gigantic Sprite. Oh, we don't have to. Yeah, actually, you know what? We don't have to go through Sprint. We can just go Gigantic, summon Diviner, make Elf. Right? There's Nibiru. But we just have a negate for that. Nothing to stop that. No Gamma. Gamma would have been pretty sick, yeah. Gamma would have been very, very sick. Alright. Gigantic summons Diviner. Diviner sends... You don't even have to send Christia here. You can go Ava. And then on the opponent's turn, Elf, revive Diviner, send Christia, bring it back. So first, we're going to search both Heralds, orange and green, to back up the board. Honestly, there's a very high chance that this board does not even need Christia, but it's going to be there anyways, so... yeah. Because this board already has Herald of Green Light, Herald of Orange Light, Desiree, and a Hollow Core Negate. And a Bower Q that's coming back. So it's a really strong board even without Christia, but I mean... Oh wait, Sprite Elf, bring back Diviner now? That effect is once per turn. Ah, we haven't normal summoned, of course, my bad. How could I miss that? Normal summon Ash Blossom to make IP Masquerena, I guess? Yeah. I'll say it, this board does not need Christia, but it will have Christia, but it does not need Christia. draw Dormouse again. This is the second time we've just opened Dormouse. Gem Knight without Christia is already very strong. I mean, it's yes, but also they have one Gem Knight card on their field. they have one Gem Knight card on the end board, and that thing has essentially no effect on the opponent's turn. So I don't know if you can give Gem Knight the credit for all of this. I don't know who. The Brilliant Fusion does not count. We had a Bestial to try and banish the Christia, but there was a Herald, and it's just, I mean, even if we banished the Christia, once again, the Christia wasn't needed there to win the game, but it was there, so made things easier. And we're going to a game 3 today, and it is going to be Malice who's going to be able to go first in this Challenger Cup final, so I can't help but give the advantage, at least statistically, to Name Magician here, but we will see how it plays out. We've seen Bronas beat Malice twice going second in top 4. We'll see how it plays out here in game 3 of the finals. We know there's Lancia in the deck, there's Herald of Orange Light, there's a lot of good cards here. We will see. Normal summon March here. And we hit him with a Molchami Fualos right away. And it resolves. All right, good start for Bronas, I would say, all things considered. It's not the best normal summon for Malice. And we resolved the Molchami. We're going to commit for a Link 1 here. It's going to be Lingaribo. We draw a card. Is there a self-droll? There is not. Okay. Not yet, at least. Maybe we need to resolve this backup. Interesting choice to go normal March here instead of normal backup. But Ash Blossom here is going to stop the backup from searching. And in order to play here, you would have to go through Splash Mage, which does play, but gives more draws for the Fuwa. Plays better into the Ash. That is true. Against just Ash, this is stronger. Yeah. If we do commit into a Link 2, it's going to be Splash Mage. And it's going to be another card drawn off of Fuwa. And now we self-droll. We did have it, but we didn't want to do it earlier because we were relying on that backup search. But this will allow us to keep going now without giving more draws to the Molchami. However, Bronas, even after using the Fuwa and the Ash and forcing the opponent to self-droll, is still on 5 cards in hand. And one thing that Malice will not get to do this turn is draw a bunch of cards, which is normally what makes it so powerful, is like setting up a super strong board, but also having like 5 or 6 cards in hand after. So this is nowhere near as good. And we Link Decoder. Now we don't have a Malice name on the board. So we make Transcode Talker. We make Transcode Talker. Link Decoder comes back. Transcode Talker brings back a Link 3 or lower, which is going to be Splash Mage. And this could just be Allied Code Talker pass. Which is 1 negate plus 2 cards in hand against 6 cards in hand. The Transcode Talker does make the Allied Code Talker untargetable while it's there because they're co-linked, which is, I guess, neat. But this is scary. 6 cards in hand versus essentially just one allied code talker negate. Normal summon Lacrima the Crimson Tears. Alright, it's fair enough. I get it. That is a pretty tempting negate and banish because the normal summon has been used. You banish the Fiendsmith, a very crucial part to the Fiendsmith engine. But any spell here, Brilliant Fusion. Do we have Impulse? We do have Impulse. Okay, good. That is necessary here. If that Brilliant Fusion resolves, we are in trouble probably. So Brilliant Fusion does get negated. Stays on the field, but doesn't really matter. Do we have a way to keep playing Dispersion? Anything? Engraver, Tract. We do have Dispersion. So many powerful spells in this deck. And I mean, I guess you can kind of assume that there's no Ash Blossom in hand because they could have ashed the Fuwa. Gem Knight Dispersion is going to fuse Quartz and Lancea, which we probably drew for turn, into Seraphonite. Normal summon Fable Lurie as the extra normal summon off of Seraphonite. What is happening? Make Fiendsmith Requiem. There is something. Okay, Lingaribo has an effect in the graveyard. Oh, is it Fuwa? It's Fuwa. Oh god, the Lingaribo secret effect. Jesus. Okay. That was nice. I gotta admit, that was nice. All right, Fiendsmith Engraver hits the board, but Fuwa is now active. And that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. You don't really want to give Malice a bunch of cards here, but I mean, I guess we're committed at this point. We're going in. Oh, is that a Bestial? A Bestial could end the game already. A Bestial here. A Bestial drawn off of this Molcharmi could already end the game. I don't know how likely it is that we can go for a game now against Malice. Like, they're just gonna draw so many high quality cards, right? Like, they can draw... They still haven't used Ash Blossom. They play all the Bestials probably, except for Serenir. They might not play that one, but it's gonna be hard. Alright, Lacrima. We can target the banished Lacrima to get it back into rotation. Also, this plays around the Bestial somewhat. This is... not an... Oh, and Nibiru comes down. And that, honestly... Whew, that Fuwa play was pretty tough. And I don't know... We can still use Engraver to bring itself back, but... Man, that Lingaribo tributing the Allied code was cool. Alright. Engraver, shuffle back Lacrima. Is there a Bestial? The final nail in the coffin. Bestial Baldrake banishes the Engraver. And I do think this is going to end Bronas's turn. And if Malice finds any way to play next turn, there is no interruption. We have to go to the end phase. Any Malice name, any Bestial, anything here is going to be good enough for Name Magician to win this finals. Normal summon White Rabbit is going to do it. And Bronas sees the writing on the wall, doesn't even let the opponent play through all of it, because that is definitely going to be the game. GG. I'm going to say it. That was a nice move with the Fuwa, tributing the Allied Code Talker for cost to create an empty board for a second there, so you can activate the Molcharmi. Drew pretty well off of the Molcharmi. You gotta admit, those were some pretty good draws off of the Fuwa, but still well spotted. Pretty nice play there. And Malice turns things around, wins the finals 2-1 over Gem Knights. And kind of shows everyone why Malice Red Ransom is on that list that is going to come into effect in a couple of days, because once again, a very dominant performance by the Malice deck today. We had 3 Malice decks in top 4, and one of them was able to take it all the way. GG's everybody, and thank you all for watching. It was a fun time. I hope everyone enjoyed today's Challenger Cup. Thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the streams next week. Once again, the next stream is going to be on Tuesday, so hope everyone is going to be tuning in on Tuesday. Thank you all for watching today. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, or a wonderful start to your week, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye bye everybody. Thank you for watching. Peace.